Africa, cradle of life, where the earth breathes in ancient rhythms and time dances to the sound of the wind. Light rises over the horizon like an ancient ritual. Golden rays pierce the morning mist, revealing a land still asleep. In this vastness, nothing is still. Everything pulses, everything lives. The savanna awakens in silence. Dew drops slide down withered leaves. Insects slice through the air with hypnotic hums. On the cracked ground, footprints mark the paths of countless generations. From the endless plains to the bluish mountains in the distance, every curve of the landscape bears the signature of deep time. Here, beneath the burning sky, every species, great or small, that writes its story. The rainforest rises like a living wall. Rivers cut through the dense green like the earth's arteries. Within, millions of lives coexist in a ballet invisible to hurried eyes. In the shadows, eyes watch. Ears catch sounds inaudible to humankind. Further north, the Sahara stretches its sea of sand, a desert that seems dead, but holds the memory of ancient oceans. Each grain carries centuries. Each dune is shaped by the same wind that once touched the first humans. And to the south, in the swamps and flooded plains, water dictates the rules. It decides who lives, who leaves, who flourishes. When the rains come, the soil bursts with life. When they dry, scars remain and promises of return. Africa is not just a place. It is a force, a spirit. It is the echo of the origin. It is the womb of the planet where the first steps were taken and where, even today, instinct, struggle, and beauty coexist in wild harmony. With every beat of the savanna's heart, with every solitary cry in the forest night, with every breath rising in the warm evening breeze, Africa reminds us, before all else, there was this, there was her, the primordial earth. In the golden vastness of the African savanna, life follows an ancient rhythm, shaped by heat, hunger, and time. Here there are no walls, no borders, only territory, and in the savanna, territory is everything. Hierarchy is silent, yet relentless. It isn't measured in words, but in strength, strategy, and sheer endurance. Lions, with their undeniable majesty, dominate the landscape like royal shadows in the tall grass. A roar slices through the air and travels for miles, a declaration of presence, of power. But even kings must hunt. With each charge, they gamble with the mathematics of chance. One misstep, and hunger remains. In the dim light of dawn, eyes glint between the leaves. Paws move with ancestral precision. The prey, a zebra, a wildebeest, an impala, senses before it sees. In the savanna, fear is a universal language. But lions are not alone. Elephants march in silence, gentle giants guided by the memory of matriarchs. They are the guardians of the past. Where they step, the ground opens, the brush yields, and life rearranges itself. No one challenges an elephant, not out of fear but out of respect. Giraffes glide like tall shadows among the acacias, their skillful tongues picking leaves where others cannot reach. They observe everything from above, like peaceful sentinels. Zebras cross the plains in formation, like a single organism in constant motion. Striped like riddles, they confuse the eyes of predators and dance with the chaos of the savanna. And there are the silent hunters. Cheetahs who bet everything on speed. Hyenas, organized and opportunistic, challenging order with brutal intelligence. And wild dogs, running like a coordinated orchestra, where every member knows its role. In the shade of the acacias, predators and prey live by a silent pact. There is no hatred, only necessity. Survival is the name of the game, and everyone knows the rules. Each sunrise is a rebirth, each sunset a risk, each step a wager against the unseen. In the savanna, beauty walks hand in hand with danger, and the silence between battles is only a pause before life begins again, fierce and magnificent as it always has. In a world where light rarely touches the ground, the Congo rainforest hides secrets that have withstood the test of time. Beneath this dense canopy life breathes in whispers. Every leaf, every fungus, every fragment of shadow is part of an ancient, vast and nearly untouched system, a universe where what is visible is only the surface of something much deeper. Here live the last giants of the forest, the mountain gorillas, creatures of monumental strength and surprisingly gentle behavior. A dominant male watches over his group with attentive eyes. He doesn't need to roar. His presence alone commands respect. With subtle gestures, he guides, protects, and teaches. Around him, females care for their young, gently grooming them. A silent bond unites them, stronger than any cry. Just a few meters away, a group of chimpanzees moves through the forest with restless agility. They are lighter, more curious, more unpredictable. With stones and branches, they crack open seeds, capture termites, and even hunt in groups, a rare behavior among primates. But it is in the moments of silence that they reveal their true complexity. A caress, a hug, a comforting touch, emotions that echo from the depths of our evolutionary past. Above them, in the highest canopies, birds with vibrant plumage compete for space with colobus monkeys and tiny flying squirrels. In flashes of color, hummingbirds feed on flowers that bloom only once a year. Tiny chameleons glide along nearly invisible branches. Butterflies with transparent wings follow routes only they understand. But in this forest, not everything is beauty. Competition is fierce. Among the branches and on the damp forest floor, silent predators lurk. Arboreal snakes, solitary leopards, camouflaged birds of prey. Danger lies in every shadow. And even so, the cycle renews itself each day. With every humid dawn, the forest awakens with sounds no human instrument could ever reproduce. A chorus of frogs, birds, insects, and wind creates a primal symphony. It is the earth itself singing. In this hidden realm, every creature, no matter how small, plays a crucial role. The forest lives, and it protects those who know how to listen. Not all rulers walk upon the earth. In the skies of Africa, where the heat of the land creates invisible columns of air, soaring eagles cut through the wind with millimetric precision. Vultures circle in silent spirals, like shadows suspended. In the firmament, alert to the slightest sign of weakness below. Migratory birds, tireless travelers, trace ancient routes between continents, crossing deserts and forests, to land for a sacred moment on the fertile shores of Africa's lakes. Here, where water gathers like jewels in the dry earth, life stirs. At the edge of a saline lake, a spectacle of color is revealed. Thousands of flamingos paint rosy patches against the mirrored surface. Their legs, thin as sticks, appear delicate, but hold the balance of an ancient dance. With curved beaks dipped into shallow waters, they filter invisible microorganisms, dyeing their feathers with hues that defy logic. They are living sculptures that reflect the power of adaptation and harmony with their habitat. But not all is serenity. Just below the surface, where reflections deceive, the true masters of disguise lie in wait. Nile crocodiles, motionless as ancestral stones, wait with relentless patience. With eyes just above the waterline and discreet nostrils, they monitor every movement around them. One wrong step, and the attack comes with lightning speed, silent, precise, fatal. They are survivors of a lineage that predates the dinosaurs, predators shaped by time and efficiency. Farther ahead, in a deep stretch of the river, a group of hippos rests beneath the muddy water. Only their eyes, ears, and nostrils break the surface, just enough to keep watch and breathe. At night, they leave their liquid refuge to graze along the banks, but during the day, they remain submerged, shielded from the scorching sun. Despite their docile appearance and sluggish behavior, they are territorial, unpredictable, and incredibly dangerous. To them, water is armor, home, and fortress. Meanwhile, dragonflies dart above the reeds in erratic patterns. Fishermen cast their lines with patience, and a solitary heron walks with calculated steps, launching its beak like an arrow at the slightest hint of movement. Every creature, large or small, plays its role in this fluid and vibrant ecosystem. Rivers and lakes are not mere reservoirs, they are corridors of life, mirrors of the sky, and arteries of the continent. This is the empire of sky and water, Where flight means freedom and diving survival, where silence is strategy and beauty often hides danger, here nature does not rest. It watches, it hunts, it thrives. In the heart of the African continent, where the heat warps the horizon and silence feels absolute, the desert stretches, vast, relentless, mesmerizing. At first glance, it is a kingdom of emptiness. Golden dunes rise like petrified waves. The wind sculpts shifting ridges that change shape each day, as if the ground itself were breathing. The sky, immense and scorching, presses down on the landscape like a ceiling of fire. But beneath this hostile surface, life endures and triumphs. The sand, which seems to promise only death, holds ancient secrets. Here dwell masters of adaptation, creatures shaped by generations of scarcity. A solitary oryx crosses the dunes with steady steps. Its long horns cut through the hot air, and its body is a balance of strength and efficiency. It does not need to drink every day. Its blood has learned to retain water. Its eyes have decoded the heat, and its instinct guides it along invisible paths toward hidden pastures among the rocks. During the day, the desert belongs to stillness, but beneath the sand the world awakens. A scorpion slowly emerges, sensing the vibrations of the ground. Its steps are soft, almost ethereal, yet they carry a history of millions of years. It hunts with precision and patience, guided by the touch of the earth. Swift lizards dart across the searing surface with alternating strides, as if leaping from ember to ember. Each knows the dance of heat and shelter. Oases dot the desert like true mirages, small concentrations of life, where palm trees sway gently and water sleeps beneath the shade. There, flocks of birds rest between journeys, and rare mammals approach with caution, always alert to the slightest sign of threat. For even here, within the illusion of peace, danger lurks. A striped hyena appears at twilight, when the sun weakens and the desert transforms. Unlike its savanna relatives, it lives alone, and its smaller body is built to endure cold nights and scorching days. It sniffs the air, listens, moves between rocks and dunes like a living shadow. The night is its domain. And in the desert, the night brings relief, but never rest. The stars which shine shyly in urban skies explode here in absolute clarity. The entire universe leans over the desert, illuminating paths known only to the inhabitants of aridity. A deep silence blankets the land, broken only by the whisper of sand and the distant calls of nocturnal life. This is not an empty world. It is a harsh sanctuary where life not only survives, it reinvents itself. Every drop of water is worth gold. Every shadow is a blessing, and every creature, from the most imposing oryx to the tiniest insect, is proof that even in the most inhospitable places life finds a way, silent, discreet, and endlessly resilient. Nothing in Africa is static. The land breathes, pulses, transforms. An eternal cycle turns upon itself, silent, precise, inevitable. Here, everything is born, grows, dies, and returns. And it is precisely in this balance between end and beginning that the wild heart of the continent resides. At the first sign of the wet season, the sky shifts its mood. Heavy clouds gather, and the air hums with electricity. The suffocating heat gives way to the fresh wind of the eve. Then it rains. Water falls with fury and blessing, striking the dry earth with force, carving channels, filling puddles, awakening seeds that have lain dormant for months. In a matter of hours, grey turns to green. Dust becomes fragrance, and the grass rises again with an almost sacred vigor. With the rain comes an explosion of life. Animals that seemed absent emerge in herds. Newborns appear everywhere, gazelles with trembling legs, wildebeests with watchful eyes, elephants still learning to balance beneath the protective shadows of their mothers. The world seems to start over. Each birth is a promise, but no promise is free from risk. The time of abundance also draws the hunters. Lions watch from afar, eyes fixed, steps slow. Hyenas test the scent of the wind. Jackals stalk the weakest corners of the herd. And so while life blossoms, death settles beside it, unhurried as part of the dance. Because here there is no tragedy, there is necessity. The carcasses left on the grass are devoured by teeth, beaks, and larvae. Nothing is wasted. What was once muscle becomes energy. What was once bone turns to dust and feeds the root. The earth absorbs everything silently. Vultures soar above the plains like sentinels of renewal. Death is not an end. It is raw material for continuity. When the cycle reverses and the rains cease, the land dries once more. Rivers shrink. Leaves lose their luster. The grass that once danced in the wind bends, brittle, silenced. It is a time of selection. The weak are left behind, the strong press on. And even in scarcity, something endures. A green bud hidden at the base of a plant, a pregnant female beneath the scorching sun, a migratory bird that returns, certain that the wheel will turn once again. Africa does not promise permanence. It offers rhythm, a cadence where birth and death are complementary acts, never opposites. Everything moves in circles, like the flight of raptors, like the trails of elephants, like time itself. Here, hope is not optimism. It is instinct, the instinct to persist, to be reborn, to bloom, even when everything around seems to crumble. And so, in the land where life and death walk side by side, the future is an echo of the past. Always new, always ancient, always African.